I am so excited for this spa day. Candles lit, music on, hot tub warm and ready. And then my chronic hives come back. Again, in the middle of my spa day. What a wet blanket. Looks like another spell of itchy red skin. If you have chronic spontaneous urticaria or CSU, there is a different treatment option. Hives during my next spa day? Not if I can help it. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
I wish we had the Philly cheesesteak because I like that.
Yeah, we don't call it the Philly cheesesteak. We just call it the cheesesteak. Give me cheesesteak.
What do they call food in China?
Food.
Food.
All right, so Subway, these guys are sleazebags, man. I got it. And Starbucks. Let's just put it out there. Subway and Starbucks fined 200, well, separate fines, but Subway was fined $218,000. Get this, for pocketing their employees' tips. 10 franchises, right, in Washington were found guilty of taking part in this little scheme. So basically, as customers were tipping on the cards, Subway, the franchisees are just like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're just
house always wins, baby.
Yeah, they're doing their thing, right? They're getting the money.
Hey, this is William Tincup and Ryan Larry. This is this week's episode of the BARF. It's March 17th, and we're going to try and recap some of the things we saw this week to help you with the week coming up. So as you listen or watch the show, please comment and share with your friends and all that stuff. So we'll start off with the first story that I have to pitch to Ryan, and it's on a company CEO, Planeteer. So it's Plantir.
It's like
CEO.
a spelling bee.
Yeah, I know.
MOUSC.
Give me a U, like an N. So it says their CEO says his outspoken pro-Israel views has caused employees to leave the company. This is at CNBC, so if you want to find out more about the story, go there. And this is politics at work. And my bid on this is, first of all, being Catholic and pro-Israel. I think that most people would have a different view of the entire situation that's going on in Israel and Palestine if Hamas was in Mexico or Canada. So if Hamas, an active terrorist organization, was in either of those countries that are on our border, we'd be in Slaughterfest. I think we would be invading the country. I think we would
to do everything we can to stop it.
They'd be dead.
Yeah.
Dead. This is that Al Capone moment. Dead. Dead. I want them dead.
Yeah.
Untouchables. So, I don't think politics should be at work because I don't believe in the bring your whole self to work bit. I think you should bring about like 60% of yourself to work, like keep your sex and politics and religion and all that other bullshit at home.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Keep it out of the office.
Again, some of that does come down to consent. So if you are working with employees and you all consent to have discussions and debates and open discourse, well, that's fine. But if you don't, then you shouldn't. So what's your bit? What's your take on
I don't know. Being in an office, talking politics, all of that stuff. I'm not a fan of it. I I remember being in an office. I barely wanted to talk to people when I was there, and that's not a knock on anybody I worked with. I talked to a few people, but it just felt like I'm there to do a job, right? I'm there to do a job. I want to get it done, and I want to go home. I don't mind hanging out. It's kind of like going to the gym. This is definitely not work related, but going to the gym and seeing people there each and every day. They're in workout clothes. Their hair is done for the gym. They're sweating. They're music, whatever. But then you see them outside the gym. You're like, whoa, no, you don't look normal. Like, I don't like you.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was with me at work.
I like to gym you.
Yeah, I don't like this. Why do you have jeans and a shirt on? And no, it doesn't make sense. That's how I was in the office. So I never brought any of that with me. I talk to people. I'm, super social. but it was just work stuff. Like, I don't know. I just,
All right.
man, don't bring it to work.
Well,
You know.
all right, what do you got?
All right. So Bamboo HR.
Okay.
I forget where I got this from. I'll take a look. It was an HR Dive article. Bamboo HR put out a report around PTO requests hitting a 4-year all-time high, which
Okay.
is interesting, right? So on the surface, it's like, yeah, people just want to take vacation. But when you think about it, you kind of dig in. First question comes to my mind: is this a post-pandemic thing? Is that even still a thing? Right? Is post-pandemic a thing? We're aware of mental health. We're self-aware.
Right.
You know, we're more about ourselves and
Hopefully.
our family. All
Yeah.
of that good stuff. Is that contributing? But as you go a little deeper into this, and you read the article and some of the research and that's in there, so we'll drop the link down there for you. December is the month of the highest amount or highest volume of performance reviews, annual
Right.
performance reviews. And so it got me thinking, and this is probably very elementary, but if you're in this role of giving a performance review, if you're in the role of building an effective team, is the performance review the driver for January and February to be the highest requested in 4 years?
Oh, that's interesting.
For PTO.
It's a causation or correlation discussion.
Are you pissing your employees off that much? Right?
Or is the anxiety of creating the review or being reviewed, either one?
Yeah.
Is that what's drawing that?
I think it's tied to it. I think the trend's going to continue. I think performance reviews. We've talked to a number of companies recently.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's some really good things being done, good work being done in that area of performance reviews. Companies need to build differently. It is not 2018 anymore. It's not 2015. I know that sounds weird because it's only a couple of years ago.
Well,
you need to build
love
yourself
that people
differently.
Are using their PTO. So whatever drives that, if that's what's driving it, is the review and the anxiety or whatever, or maybe it's just, hey, I got a good review. Let's go to Cancun.
Yeah.
Whatever is driving people getting away from work, I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah, well, and it's obviously we talked about this. I think it was last week, where holidays. I think it was last week. Holidays and paid time off across the country. We were second from the bottom. We meaning the U.S. Second from the bottom in the amount of PTO.
No, it was Iran was
number
first.
one. Yeah. It's insane when you go through these other countries and what's going on. So anyhow, I think it's tied to performance reviews. I think performance reviews deeper. I think performance reviews need a massive overhaul, and they're getting that with a lot of these companies. But I think the trend's going to continue.
Find out what if people think it's causation or correlation.
Yeah.
All right, so check out this story, right? The risk of bring your own cloud. So the bring your own device. Okay, so that's been around for forever. But bring your own cloud.
I was going BYOB, but cloud.
It's
all good too. You bring your own
throw
cloud.
that in there. So this is at Forbes. So if you just put in BYOC, you'll be able to find the article. One of the things that it mentions, and that's interesting to me, is unsanctioned, unmanaged, and unapproved cloud services operating in conjunction with your business. Okay. Well, first of all, is that new? Is that a new concept, or is this just a way to scare HR? And like, okay, there's things that are happening in people's personal cloud that could somehow impact your business, which I'm sure is true on some level.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're using your Dropbox account to do things, but you're working on something. Like I could see where the lines get blurred. Fair enough. But what really got me to think is, how does this impact remote work? Like if you're at home, you're working on your business or the business, and you have a whatever to do for work, and then you also got your personal cloud. Like most people have them in 2 different browsers or 2 different tabs. They've got one doing their business stuff and one doing personal stuff, and like I could see some commingling. So, what's your take on that? BYOC.
I'm not sure I want anybody seeing what I do. I mean, look, I'm not the.
That's why Google created incognito.
I'm not. Yeah, right. I'm not creepy. I don't think I'm creepy. But other people may think it if it's gonna affect my employment. I'm just very personal. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this in my head, not this particular thing, just things like the
Yeah.
other day, and it actually was this morning. I was just thinking like, yeah, I just don't care for people to know what I do.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
mind
I
the
got that.
computer listening to me. I don't mind
The
Alexa
irony,
listening to me.
right?
Yeah, I don't mind because it's giving me something back. It's
Yeah.
giving me
Other
something
people.
back that's personalized. Yeah.
Well, see, that's what's fascinating about that is that could be the dehumanization of us. Like
Yeah,
we
could
don't
be.
really want people to know us. We don't mind if the technology knows us.
No, because
So if
there's a benefit for me on the other side. I mean,
oh, there's a lot to unpack there,
yeah,
but we'll
depends on what you're there. Yeah, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
But eh,
People say that to me all the time. Oh, I'd really like to know what you're thinking. And it's
no,
like,
no, you
no,
don't.
you do not
I think
want to
good
know.
things. You
Yeah,
you do
I'm on the
not.
darker side of
You
it
do not.
a bit.
All right, so EEOC. EEOC recovers whopping $665 million for 22,000 workers. I'm loving this. Look, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an employment lawyer. I can't talk super intelligently about it other than what I've read. However, the amount of content, the amount of articles and news that is out there where the EEOC and the DOL and all these other agencies with acronyms are stepping in for employees
Yeah,
recently is refreshing. This
it is.
specific article, $665 million for 22,000 employees. That's a lot of money for a lot of people.
Right.
And it's about systemic discrimination in the
Yeah.
workplace. So we're talking harassment, racial injustice, retaliation, which is probably, I wouldn't say the biggest, but for me, that was the scariest thing when I was in corporate was, am I going to be retaliated against?
Right.
Right. And so, and accessibility, pay equity, all of that stuff is included here. So last year, there were 81,000 new cases that were brought in 2023. That's a lot of cases. I think they only brought, I think the number was like 173 or 174 of them actually went to
Yeah, yeah.
court or
They got to
whatever.
do the investigation.
Yeah, and well, funny you mentioned that. So they hired 400 and some odd investigators
Yeah.
to do those 81,000 cases that were brought forward. Anyhow, the other piece to that in the article was that the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act went
Yep.
into effect back in June, again, to provide more protection for different class of employees. More of the story is these agencies, regardless of their acronyms, they're not screwing around. So employers need to stop messing around here and actually do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, there's a couple of connected stories. So they filed more than 50% more cases,
Yeah.
lawsuits than 23. So the caseload went up, and you just said that they hired more investigators, which is great. But the EEOC and the NLRB are both can be, not are, but can be politicized. So if you have a
Yeah.
Democrat in office, they tend to lean one way, and a Republican tends to lean the other. Okay, so wherever your political affiliations are, just plan to vote in November because it will have an impact on those two particular agencies. In a related note, and this was at EEOC.gov. So if you want to go check out some more about that story or this next story, the DOL's um, independent contractor rule takes effect. So this is something that's been litigated and will continue to be litigated for a long time. And so, it's just something to go and look at. And again, EEOC.gov to kind of keep up to date with that. Um, the biggest effect could maybe signaling the wage and hour investigation focus, and which again kind of gets to misclassification of contractors. So worker contract, which has been around
For a
for a
long
long
time. Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
but what I would like for the audience to pay attention to is the 6 non-exhaustive factors: the nature, the degree of control over work performed, the extent to work to an integral part of the business, the permanence of arrangement, exclusivity. So there's a bunch of things. They've got kind of 6 factors that they look at, if you will, to then determine whether or not a worker has been classified correctly or not. So news on that is it is being litigated, but it goes into effect until there's until there's an injunction that goes into effect on Monday. So I think companies have been preparing for this for months, so it's not like a big giant surprise, like, oh my God, how'd they do this? It's been going on for a while, being litigated for a long time, and it will probably continue to be litigated. So just gotta keep your eyes on that. And again, the classification of work. I mean, I remember a story 100 years ago about Microsoft misclassifying people
Yeah.
that were working 35 hours as part-time employees, or
Right.
something like that. I don't mean to use Microsoft as
But you
that's
will.
just the story I remember. But yeah, of course.
So,
but I just did, and there's that. Anyhow, what's your take on this?
yeah, well, it's interesting. I agree. I think just because you're a contractor, a 1099, and you are working 40, 50, 60 hours a week at one company, you're a full-time employee. You're
100%.
definitely a full-time employee, and I just think it's I understand how it was. I think
Right.
it's outdated. I think it's
I agree.
outdated because the relationship between the employer and the employee is very permanent. The
Yep.
expectations of the employer to the employee or to the contractor is very different. When you have
Yeah.
someone that's at the company 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you're not expecting them to be on call 24 hours a day, but
Right.
you're not going to send a message over Slack or call them and think, oh, they're just a contractor. They're going to get back to me sometime
Yeah.
today. When they do, they do. No.
Whenever they do.
Yeah,
You
no.
have the
Yeah.
expectation of an employee, but they're treated as a contractor, which means they don't have benefits.
Yeah.
They're not on salary. They don't get the payroll deductions, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like I can, again, if you got to have kind of sharp edges and rules around.
Yeah.
If you're a contractor, then and you don't have exclusivity, then you're a contractor. It's pay for work or pay for
Right.
outcomes or whatever
Right.
the bid is. Can't treat them like employees.
In the words of Biden, it's malarkey. I don't know why that just came to me, but it did. But
Very nice.
I've got a story that ties to this. So I'm
All
gonna
right, bring it.
so Minneapolis, I am so sorry, but your Uber and Lyft rides are potentially gone. Right? So I don't know if you've seen this or heard it. So and I'm gonna get this wrong and somebody will call me out on it.
100%.
Legislative or the law or the bills were put forward. Not my space. All I can tell you is that there's been a bill of some sort, right, pushed forward where Uber drivers and Lyft drivers are going to be looked at as potentially employees, but they also need potentially, that's a very tiny part, but they want them to be at minimum wage, which is $15.57 in Minneapolis. And Uber and Lyft is saying, we agree they should be getting minimum wage, but we need to find a fair way to make this work. We cannot go from our model today of paying X amount of each ride and sharing in the profits to $15.57. We can't operate this way. We can't afford to operate this way. And
That's
so,
horseshit.
yeah, and so there's a lot of effects here. There's roughly 10,000 to 15,000 drivers in Minneapolis. That's a lot of people that are going to be without work if this happens, or if they pull out. And they are going to see services. They're moving towards that direction, but they are committing to working towards a solution. So it's not gone.
My take is simple. You just create a floor. You're going to make that as a floor.
Yeah.
And again, if a municipality, they have the right. I saw an article this week. We're not going to get into it, but an article this week on all the different pay disclosure rules that are in effect. And a lot of them are state, but when you dig into that, there's a lot of them that are municipal.
Yeah.
So like, again, city of Seattle, city of Dallas, et cetera, can create their own minimum wage, et cetera.
Yeah.
And they can create their own rules. Like I remember when Austin did this with Uber and Lyft, where it was around background checks and fingerprinting. So this was when a lot of this is years ago, but it was one of those deals. They just said you can't operate in a city if your drivers haven't had a background check and fingerprint. I think it's
Yeah.
fingerprinting in particular. And so like that's what a municipal local government, they can create local rules.
Yeah.
So I'm,
Yeah.
I'm
There's
one of these, there's got to be a way business wise to just create a floor
They'll make it work.
and that, and
They'll definitely make it work. Now,
or
so
they'll leave
or they'll leave.
and
Well, and
yeah.
there's a big effect, and this affects the actual consumer too, right? The riders.
Oh yeah.
There's people without vehicles that have now become relying upon Uber and Lyft to get to
Yeah.
work. Right there, there's a
100%.
lot of other factors, and the drivers themselves. There's other things they can do, I'm sure, but that's 10,000 plus people. So I've done gig work, right? I've done uh,
DoorDash.
DoorDash. I couldn't think of the name. So they've recently started earn guaranteed money per hour. And I
Oh,
haven't looked it
all
up.
right.
When I saw the story, I thought to myself, okay, you can go on your own and take a gamble and go make
Right.
money, right? Or you can make a guaranteed X amount of money per hour. Right now, it's just based on, I think that the floor is $14,
Right.
at least here is $14 an hour. It goes up based on
Yeah.
demand.
The more,
But
yeah.
14, so I think what they're doing is they see this happening straight across America, right? And saying,
Yeah.
we're going to need to be at a $15 minimum wage. So let's start to get our people, our drivers aware of this, get them used to it, and get the consumer, the user of DoorDash, paying a little bit more. Will incrementally
Yeah.
increase. And they've been doing it now for a while, and I think that's what this is trying to combat.
Elon Musk predicts when AI will become superior to human intelligence. So I found this story on
Yesterday,
supercarblondie.com. You gotta take a look at that. Yeah, yeah. It's
smarter.
2012 was his prediction. No, he came out and he actually said 2029.
Okay.
And when I think of this, again, he could be right, he could be wrong. I'm not gonna bet against him because he's been more successful at things than not. But for me, I look at AI in a very, very specific way. Because if it can master cursing, sarcasm, and pop culture
Yeah.
references better than I can, I'll take the loss. Like, okay, I don't think it'll be able to do that in 5 years. So I think if we look at the different parts of AI
Mhm.
and different aspects of our life, yeah, I think it probably. But if he's saying that superior to human intelligence, which I include cursing, sarcasm, and pop culture references in intelligence, so if it can do that by 29, cool. I don't think it can. So I think that number is going to be further out. What do you think?
I think I'm not going to bet against him, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with it. And in a lot of things, I don't know that it's smarter. It's faster and able to process more.
Right.
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 So could I come up with the same conclusion based on data to create a report? Yeah, probably. In most
Right.
cases, in some cases, probably not a lot, some. It's just going to take me 6 weeks to get it done,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I
Right.
think the trade-off there is easy for me. I have no problem with it. Yeah, no problem with it. And I
All
think
right.
he's
Well,
right. So, all right, Bullhorn, gonna go on the staffing.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Hello, I'm Ruth Thomas, host of Comp and Coffee, where we break down what's next in the world of compensation management. From pay transparency to performance alignment, we explore how businesses are rethinking compensation to drive impact, equity, and growth. So if you're shaping the future of pay at your organization, grab a cup and tune in. Listen on the Work Defined Podcast Network.
And bring it back to staffing. So Bullhorn, I think it was this week, maybe last week, released no, actually they announced it they're launching it. I believe it's in April. Copilot. So it's a bunch of AI tools that are tailored to just the staffing industry. And so I love this because I always kind of, I treat staffing almost like the redheaded stepchild, right? I just, if for whatever reason, it's like, oh, it's staffing. But I think this is important because Bullhorn is the player, right? It's the main player in staffing. And they have created a set of tools in their Copilot that's going to do everything that we already know, right? It's going to the pre-screening, rejection messages, communication, personalizing, summarizing, creating client stuff, all that stuff that we know AI can do and that recruiting in corporate world is already attempting or using or trying. Okay, check, got that. What I really liked about this is that there were some stats in there that, and obviously this is a sales pitch from them to the world, but it was interesting to me because in 2023, of the staffing agencies that have already used or embedded AI into their process, right? I'm going to say tech stack, but I know you're going to shoot lasers through the camera.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah. So in 2023, 31 out of all those companies, 31%, the companies that embedded AI, were 31% more likely to see revenue gains than firms that have not already embedded that. And in staffing, that is the name of the game.
Their margins.
Their margins, right. And so this is going to help them. They're not saying it's going to help them with margins, but there's a clear path to this type of Copilot assisting staffing companies in all of that.
Yeah, it's productivity gained. And again, in that space where there's thin margins, anything you can do to get productivity up and cost down,
absolutely,
you've increased your profit. I got a contiguous story in the staffing world, and this is on the research side. So organizations in North America, plus 31%, reported the strongest hiring intentions. This is according to Manpower Employment Outlook Survey Report. That's at manpower.meos, which is the name of the report. So the thing to pay attention to about staffing, as Ryan said, it is kind of like, it is different than corporate. Check. We all know that. But it's also a leading indicator of hiring in general. So why you want to pay attention to staffing, even if you're in the corporate market, you want to pay attention to staffing because they get the uptick in hiring before corporate does. So pay attention to the Manpowers of the world and look at their report and their research because they're going to get hit with hiring before full-time hiring. It always happens this way. So they get hit with a bunch of contingent stuff to then just see if hiring is going to actually stay or the economy is going to stay or, just basically it's a safe bet to hire people through staffing so that you can easily let them go through staffing. Instead of full-time employees and training and onboarding, all that other stuff. So just keep focus on staffing for global staffing firms in particular, because they can show you what's going on with hiring trends. If their trends are high, it's coming to a theater near you. How's that sound?
That sounded sexy. I liked it. Coming to a theater near you. So I'm going to get off of staffing for a second.
I doubt it.
I'm going to go over to the EU because they always lead America in this area. So with privacy and all this other stuff. So EU Parliament adopts the world's first comprehensive AI law.
Yep.
Interesting. There's a lot of stuff here. Number one, which I'll get to the interesting stuff in a second, but what I thought was nice is that they just make it so difficult and they meaning the parliament makes it so difficult for companies to circumvent these laws.
Right.
So the penalty is 7% potential fines of 7% of annual revenue.
Yeah. That's a big number.
That's a massive number, right? You can just do the math on your calculators, your watch, whatever. But the act that was passed, the law that was passed, bans biometric surveillance and manipulative AI.
Right.
So a lot of stuff fits into that. But 7% is a massive
It's one of those
smack.
things, as you already said, the EU does a lot of progressive things.
Yeah.
Think GDPR, as you mentioned, with privacy.
Yeah.
My only grind with this is I'm not sure politicians are suited for the task of regulating.
Yeah.
That's my rub.
Yeah.
I think either impartial or independent think tanks or academics. My gut tells me that academics should be the ones that we trust,
right,
in regarding ethical AI and ethical AI practices and tech, and not politicians. So I like what the EU did because it's a step,
right?
But
someone else should be doing this. It's kind of like the congressional hearings when they're talking to Zuckerberg and these others, and telling them how to run the business. Yeah,
yes, like, as you should do with Facebook.
Yeah, Can people use video to talk to people? Like,
again, if it sounds like I'm anti-government, well, I kind of am, in the sense of point to anything our government has ever done well, like exceptional. Anything. Point to anything. Any program, anything. Call me out on it. I don't mind. Point to one thing that they've done well, and then maybe I'll believe it. But I don't think our government, no offense, our government's better than any other government in the world. So there's that. But I don't think that if the bar of exceptional,
right,
in politics is so low that I just don't think that they should be the ones regulating AI. I think AI needs regulation. So I'm splitting hairs here.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I do believe it.
Overseeing
in the regulation.
Yeah, well, overseeing it is different. Yeah, being the ones to make. Yeah, no. Ted Cruz does not for me does not qualify.
Why you gotta pick up a Ted? Ted didn't hurt anybody. He's just going to Mexico, man.
You know what? Anything in Texas, Dallas area, whatever, deserves to get 100%. Picked on.
All right, I got one for you. And this came from the census.gov. So take a look at this. So again, equal pay. And also International Women's Day. Mm-hmm. A lot of things happened recently. So this title is Equal Education, Unequal Pay. Why is there still a gender pay gap in 2024? So women earn a postgraduate degree and at a top tier program, and still make 71 cents on the dollar with men at the same educational level. So what it got me to think about is, if you thought the pay gap was because of education, like if that was a thought, male, female, otherwise, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you thought, you know what, there's a lot of dudes that graduated Harvard MBAs, maybe this is just kind of a lag, that there's just more of them, and it's just kind of an education. Yeah, that you'd be wrong. So they actually prove it. So if you really want to see the math, go to census.gov and take a look at the report itself, and you can see that no, it's not education.
There's really no argument there.
It's just dudes being dudes.
Pay the people, man.
I'm just gonna call it out on what I think it is. I think it's just dudes basically being dudes, and justifying poor behavior.
Yeah.
But again, for me, if someone rationally thought, well, maybe there was an education gap, and that's why.
Right.
That is destroyed.
Yeah.
That is
people. I mean, clearly, people make the argument of years of experience and common sense arguments to different things to bring this back. But you know what? You got the skill. You got the skill.
Yeah.
End of discussion. For me, I shouldn't say that so final. End of this discussion. For me, you got the skill. You got the skill. You get paid. Nice and simple. All right. Last week, I wanted to try the rapid fire idea.
Yeah.
But I only have one question, so it really didn't work.
Okay.
I got 4.
Oh.
I got 4. I spent some time on this. All right. So here we go. So rapid fire. These are my questions to you. I want to get inside your brain for a minute. True or false? This is more testing your knowledge. True or false? Less than a third of U.S. small business workers say they don't trust their company's HR department.
Less than a 35%? No,
less than a third.
That's going to be less than a third. I would believe that people would report that, but I don't believe it's true. So I'll say I believe that somebody will probably report that it's a third, but I don't believe for a moment. I think it's more like 60% don't trust HR.
That's right. It was false. Yep. It's more than a third.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I do add some thoughts here actually. So it's there's a lack of, I think most of this was in small business. Most of this was in small business.
I saw that report. For folks that want to actually dig into that, that's actually a report that comes out of securedatarecovery.com.
Yeah.
So take a look at .com. So you can just go and look at small company HR survey. They actually have some cool statistics in there outside of just the one that Ryan mentioned. There's a bunch of other ones in there. So anyhow.
Yeah. So all right. This is no fun if you've seen these articles. I have to find some stuff you haven't seen. I'm gonna have to go like be obscure. What is a new collar worker?
Oh, wait a minute, before you do that, one of the stats in that report that I have, half of Americans say a lack of HR department contributes to a toxic workplace.
Yeah. Yep. And it's 50 employees or less have most of that.
Right. And then there was another stat in there that the employees believe that the CEO has a hand in HR operations, and they don't trust that.
Yeah.
So it's like there's all kinds of, and some of it's contradictory data and findings because.
But if you've worked in a small company, like you read it and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't,
right.
It all makes sense. So
all right, second thing.
You're taking me off task here.
Didn't mean to.
What is a new collar worker?
A new collar worker.
We have white collar. We have blue collar.
A gray collar.
I don't know what gray collar is, but do you know what a new collar is?
Gray collar is a blending of blue and white. Basically, it's like a business like a construction company that has half of their employees that are corporate salaried employees, if you will, and half of them are construction. And so, like if it's all blue collar, then you've got a small percentage that are actually salaried, probably the owner, and then everybody else is employees. So you have a lot of risk.
So what's the new collar?
New collar, I think it's if I were to guess, and I'm just guessing, new collar would be in reference to remote or hybrid workers.
Nope. Highly skilled professionals without a degree. So a lot of companies are no longer requiring degrees. So these are the new collar workers.
That's just stupid.
These are the new collar workers because they don't have a degree, but they're highly skilled.
The irony in that statement is that they have collars. Most of the folks that you just described
don't have collars.
Don't own a collared shirt. Have probably never worn a collared shirt.
Yeah,
and I don't hate that at all because I don't wear collared shirts. But that is interesting. And first of all, I do believe and like the idea of whether or not you have a degree or don't have a degree. If you could do, you and I have talked about this. If you could do the work, you can do the work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what they call you. If you can do the work and you can be successful at the job, do it. That's cool.
All right. So give you 15 seconds to answer this one because it's opinion based. What happens to the 7 million businesses and the 170 million people, the users on TikTok, if it gets banned here in the States?
They just find another medium. I mean, there's a lot of bitching and moaning, but truth is with Instagram Reels and with YouTube, a lot of these folks that are real content creators and really, really super successful, they're successful on YouTube and
they're
TikTok.
Successful everywhere. Yeah.
They're successful across platform. I mean, Joe Rogan, take one of his mediums away, just get another one. So I think it's much ado about nothing in the sense of a content creator that's creating cool content for people. They're just going to find a different medium. Okay,
But we
so
can't
there's
deny
that.
the amounts of money that are being made by these people. It's real money.
Oh,
It's real money, and
no,
they're
it's
going to have to
legit.
find a fix for this. So I'm interested to see. All right.
They're going to fund, but I don't think it'll pass the Senate.
No,
So
I don't.
first of all,
I don't
the
think so.
Congress passes stupid shit all the time that never maybe makes the floor of the Senate. This will never make the floor
Yeah.
of the Senate. It'll never make the vote.
All right. What if I told you I can increase your revenue by 38%, create a happy workforce that is less stressed, more healthy? Would you hire me?
You're going to increase my revenue and make a happier workforce. Yes,
That's less
I would hire
stressed, more healthy.
you. Yep,
You'd hire me, right?
I would.
Yeah,
I would.
to make that change. So last week we talked about the 3-day work week.
Yes.
We know people that have tried the 4-day work week.
Yes.
So we mentioned this last week. So this was, I forget where this is at, but I'm going to go find it because it's actually pretty interesting. The 4-day work week is back in the news. It's always in the news, but it's back in the news. Oh, it's on ABC News. So this is featured on ABC News that shared the results. So 61 companies in the UK over the 6-month pilot did a 4-day work week. 89% of the companies have continued and implemented it permanently. There's a whole bunch of stats in there about why it's fantastic and all that stuff. In the end, the companies that have kept it over that 6 months increased their top line revenue 38%.
100%. So here's why. So Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, feel the burn, introduces a 4-day work
for that.
week.
Feel the burn.
Feel the burn. 4-day work week bill. So this actually is according to theguardian.com. So you can go there and read the story. So fun fact, I always think that senators work about 32 hours a week anyhow. So like, I don't think this is a big change for like senators. The reason that study's done in England or the UK, excuse me, is they're not capitalist. They're not capitalist like America. So there's different variations and strands of capitalism. And the American, we have a really, okay, you like it or hate it, doesn't really make a difference. Our brand of capitalism will never allow.
Never allow the 4. You keep shooting this idea down. I'm just starting to think we're working capitalism. 7 days a week. That's what I'm thinking.
I remember I told you, what if you could just work 2 hours a week, 7 days a week?
Yeah.
It's just it's in conflict with capitalism. Capitalism is literally at the core of the United States.
Yeah.
Like it's in our history, it's in our everything that we believe in, whether or not you believe in it or not.
It's there.
Unless you're making your own clothes,
which I am not.
Shit,
which I am not.
You're driving like a horse and buggy and all that other bullshit. Like if you've gone that far, you're not contributing. Other than that, even if you're bitching about it, you're still buying shit off Amazon.com.
Right.
So you're contributing to capitalism,
right?
Whether or not you like it or don't. And until capitalism is shown to be a failed model,
it's going to remain.
I'm just sorry. It's like, in this country, are you kidding me? Employers will expect you to cram those hours in. You can make it 20-hour work week.
Right. You make a 3-day work week. You're going to work 15 hours.
You're going to work 45 hours. So it's not going to happen. Sorry. But yeah, Bernie, God love him. He did introduce that bill this week. So it's worth a read. And it's on several different news sites. It's definitely I like The Guardian, so go take a look at that. All right, did you have some more stuff? Because I got a couple things.
Go for it. Take it.
All right, let me do some research stuff real quick. All right, 95% of HR leaders are confident in their employee experience. 58% of employees are considering new job opportunities this year. 11% higher from last year.
Okay.
This comes from iSolve's 4th annual HR Leaders Report. So, like, look, it's one of those things like, okay, 95% of HR leaders feel that they're confident in their employee experience. 58% of employees are considering new jobs.
That kind of feels like the upcoming election.
It does.
The economy's amazing. 97% of Americans feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Good
so
Lord.
I think, to me, when I read that, and that's at isolvedhcm.com. It's in a research center, and you can look at champions of change. But basically, I think this is the different vistas in which people look at EX or employee experience. So an HR leader is looking at that employee experience and saying, probably, as opposed to how it was last year or 2 years ago or 5 years ago, it's gotten better. And so they feel better about the employee experience. If you're an employee, you're looking at things like return to office or other types of programs and saying, yeah, as soon as I get a job offer, I'm at least going to look at it.
And
So
and they
they're looking
should,
at
but
just,
they even if they love their employer, they still should. You should always keep your options
100%.
open.
100%. We're all candidates. I've said that for years, and people
Yeah.
hate it. But I'm like, okay, I'm in the Cayman Islands, and I offer you a job, and you're like, no, I own a business, blah blah blah. And I say, okay, I'm gonna pay you $10 million a year, and this is what I want you to do. You're gonna take the job. We're all candidates.
Yeah, absolutely.
At one level or another, someone can make you an offer that you just cannot refuse. And so you'll take it. So this idea that there are active candidates and passive candidates, I've never believed in that shit to begin with. Let me give you another research thing. All right, so this is an analyst firm report, which I believe in strongly that as practitioners, you should always be looking at these things. So this is ISG, and it's isg-1.com. It's a provider lens analyst report for HCM technology platforms. It's out. And it's a quadrant report that analyzes the strengths and weaknesses of 30 platforms. So you can go in there and you can actually see graded out who's good at what and things like that. So I have a copy of the report. Email if you're interested. I love reports like this. A lot of them are behind paywalls and stuff like that. So I don't really like that. So I don't think that they'd be too pissed off at me, but even if they are, I don't care.
As you said that,
So
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna be like those infomercials.
Yeah.
Just cover free. Hey. We'll send you the book.
But wait, there's more. But the larger point for me, outside of email me if you want the report, is there's larger questions that we need to be thinking about. Like, what's the research methodology? So whenever you look at an analyst report, you should dig into. Don't just breeze through it. It's usually the first section of the report. They basically tell you it's either the first or the very last, but they tell you this is how we went about this research. And it's not written in legalese or anything like that. It's pretty easy to read. So definitely look at their methodology. Then look at where vendors are placed and why. The justification of putting an iSolved here and somebody else here. Okay, why is that? So first of all, where are they on the map and the quadrants? And then why is that important? Then 3, how do you look at these quadrants? Like, what are the actual 4 boxes, 9 boxes, 8 boxes, whatever the bid is? How do you make sense of the report?
Yeah.
And I think that gets us to the kind of the fourth thing that I look at with all analyst reports is how HR and TA should read and learn from them. And again, the research and analyst works have been around forever. Like that's not a new thing. It's how do you make sense of the data and to then make sense of it for your company?
Right.
I think is really important. It's not easy either because you could find some research reports that are counter in their findings.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's out. Go take a look at it. It's isg-1.com. They put out a ton of stuff on our space. And so check them out when you get a chance.
Very good. All right. So I love me some Subway. I love sandwiches. I was gonna say hoagies. Do you know what a hoagie is? Do you have hoagies down there?
Do.
Or do you have you call them subs or like submarines or whatever the hell you call those things?
I wish we had the Philly cheesesteak because I like that.
Yeah, we don't call it the Philly cheesesteak. We just call it the cheesesteak. Give me a cheesesteak.
What do they call food in China?
Food. Food. All right, so Subway, these guys are sleazebags, man. I got it. And Starbucks. Let's just put it out there. Subway and Starbucks fined 200, separate fines, but Subway was fined $218,000. Get this, for pocketing their employees' tips. 10 franchises, right, in Washington were found guilty of taking part in this little scheme. So basically, as customers were tipping on the cards, Subway, the franchisees are just like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're just
House always wins, baby.
yeah, they're doing their thing, right? They're getting the money. And so anyhow, so this is interesting to me, right? Subway. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Then you kind of start clicking around the links and go to Google and you type in, okay,
Yeah.
restaurants that steal tips. So this is not a new thing, apparently.
This is not a new
It's
thing.
not a new thing, right? So in November, Azteca,
Usually
which
it's working
is
capital.
yeah, basically. So in November, Azteca, which is pretty big restaurant chain, they've got, I forget how many, 1,000 or 2,000 employees, something like that. Well, anyway, $11.4 million in backed wages, not paying their employees. That's crazy. Overtime and minimum wage requirements.
Sucker beware. I mean, here's the deal. Outside of the poor business practices, it's just kind of stupid to do that to your employees.
Yeah.
If you want, as a consumer, if you want to give someone a tip, hand them cash.
Give them cash. Give them
Just
absolutely.
give them cash.
Give them cash.
And see, I worked when I was 15, 14. I worked at Albertsons. And the first job not the first job, I had jobs before that, but one of the things I did at Albertsons, the first job at Albertsons was a cart guy. So a bagger, so I bagged
I did that. That
groceries.
was my first job.
And we took the carts out. But Albertsons had a policy back then, this is the 80s, that you had to take groceries out to the car. Like there wasn't an option. Like if a customer came through, you took the cart. And some of that was probably to retrieve the cart and bring the cart back in, like shocking.
Mm-hmm.
But they also had a no tipping policy. So you could not accept tips from customers.
We have that around here.
This is great. So it's probably this 80-year-old guy. I'm bagging his groceries. He's probably got $300-400 worth of groceries. So I got two baskets. I'm going out to his car. He's got this huge Cadillac, and he pops the trunk. I put all the groceries in his car. And then I said, sir, thank you so much for shopping at Albertsons. Appreciate you. And I'm turning around. He goes, hey, fella. I'm like, yeah, what's up?
Fella?
So he goes, and he hands me a $10 bill. I'm like, oh, sir, it's Albertsons policy not to accept tips. He goes, so I worked hard for this money, and I want to give you my money because you helped me do something that I can't do for myself.
Right. And
you're going to refuse my money? And I looked at him, I said, no, sir.
No, sir.
I took his $10 bill and I put it in my pocket.
That's it.
And from then on, I'm like, yeah, they have a policy. William Tincup has a different policy.
We got a policy over here, too.
My policy is if somebody wants to hand me money, I'm going to take that money. Now, the furtherance of that story, which gets really funny in some ways, is I learned that people would, at that time, they would open up their trunk and then they would just get in their car if they weren't going to tip you or whatever. They just trusted you. And I would put their beer down on the below the cart, down below.
And then forget to put
their groceries. I'd so I'd forget.
You're the
to
reason
put it
why
in.
they have security at Home Depot, because you stole the tools by putting them under the cart.
I would just take that cart to my car, just put the 12-pack or case of beer in my car. I'm like, thanks.
Oh man,
I
feel like
sucker beware.
I feel like this is the point in time which we say, next story.
Next story. All right, so our friends at Aspect 42 need our help, and they need your support on their annual Insights Work Survey 2024. So this is surveymonkey.com/R/A43friends, or you can always go to aspect43.com. Aspect 43 is a boutique research and advisory firm. Brian and I have known Sarah White, formerly Sarah Brennan, for forever, 100 years. And they do great work. They do great research, and we like research. So do us a favor and head over to their website or head over to the SurveyMonkey and fill out the SurveyMonkey.
Yeah, we'll drop the link
actually for them
down below. Yeah, not for us. We're not doing that.
No, we'll report on the findings, but yeah, there's no incentive for us to care other than Sarah's a good person.
Yep. What else we got? Let's see. You got some funding things.
I only got two. There's not a lot of M&A stuff to the A of BARF. Not a lot of A.
No. Deal has been quiet this week.
It has. Next week.
Next
Don't
week.
worry. So 2 things on the funding side that I saw. Inclusivity focused VC Ada Ventures pulls in $80 million for their second fund. This is at TechCrunch, so you can look at Ada Ventures and you can pull up the article. So what I like about this is instead of hyping SaaS or AI or blockchain or whatever the hell people are interested in, they're hunting down founders who address inclusivity and diversity. I kind of care more about the inclusivity part of the fund because I believe in meritocracy. I believe the best idea should win.
Yep.
So if we include everyone and we believe that the best idea should win, then change will happen. But I like this. I like the fund. Ada Ventures. I've seen them before. Like this again. This is their second fund, so I've seen them before. And again, that says a lot that they raised an $80 million in this market.
It's a lot of money.
That they raised $80 million for a second fund. So congratulations to them.
Nice. Congrats.
Second funding news that I got for you is Empathy. Closed $47 million. I think it's a Series B. We'll have to take a look at it. But you can go to TechCrunch and look at Empathy. But it's $47 million for AI help with practical and emotional bereavement process.
Ooh.
So here's the thing. If you haven't looked at Empathy, they have a business solution for HR and for the company that helps both the employees and your employees' families. So your circle of people that go through bereavement. And death impacts everyone. So it's worth paying attention. It's worth paying attention.
Paying attention.
Thank you, brother. Paying attention.
That's what I'm here for.
AI. As boomers age and pass on, as Gen X age and enters the winter of our lives, etc., I think it's something to pay attention more in this category. Is it going to get funding? Because it's going to be more of a work-related issue. And it could be just more of a productivity-related issue. So just kind of take a look at that. You can look up Empathy on, you can go to Crunchbase or TechCrunch, but basically they got $47 million.
Good.
So congrats to them.
Good for them. I think that's it.
I think it is.
I think that's it. Thank y'all for listening. We got something else?
No, we barfed.
We barfed. We did. So if you're still listening, which I know you are because you love it, like us, love us, subscribe, see us out there, say hello. Thank y'all for coming. We'll see you next week.